Hey everybody, it's Tentatek Tom, and welcome back to the Splat Bros Weapon Guide. For those of you that haven't seen the previous episode, here's where we discuss the pros and cons of every weapon kit available in Splatoon 3, and what things you can do or add to them to help them enhance your level of play, or learn more about them before you try them yourself. Whether it's to take your level of play to the next level, help you get started competitively, or if you just want to learn more about each weapon's role in matches. With that out of the way, let's continue on to the next weapon in our series. Two of my personal favorites, in fact. Now, every game has its all-around Shoto characters that are meant to help you get your bearings on how the game is played before you try out other characters that really take certain aspects to the extreme, like your Mario, or Ryu, or Terry Bogard. The characters that are defined by their well-rounded movesets that are usually what the other characters are compared to see how they're different and excel in certain areas. And Splatoon is no different here, as this weapon is so well known in its series that it's basically the face of the weapons in Splatoon, as literally every time an Inkling has been cameoed in other games like Smash Bros or Mario Kart, they're seen holding it, as well as it being on the cover of 2 of the 3 box covers in this series. Unlocked at level 2, it's the Splattershot, Junior's big brother and the main face of the shooter class. Or if you complete the single player campaign, Return of the Mammalians, you'll unlock the Hero Shot replica. But wait, there's more! By clearing the Spire with Agent 4's palette in the Side Order DLC, you also can get the Order Shot replica. Both of these last two are basically just reskins of the original gun, and not what you have in those modes, because actually having your Hero Shot would be a bit too broken if everything you got in story mode was allowed in multiplayer. And we can't have some pay-to-win weapons that people can't get, even if they have the perfect kit. But I digress. Being a middleweight weapon, your swimming and running speed are unaffected by it, so there won't be any major changes to your movement speed like with the Junior. But, like its little brother, it has a great fire rate, spreads ink well, and moves and strays quickly with good ink consumption, with each shot using just under 1% of the ink tank per shot, allowing players to fire continuously for nearly 11 seconds on a full tank, firing about 10 shots per second, or about 6 frames per bullet. However, while the Junior is much more of an inker and support weapon, good old Splattershot here is much more of a fighter than its younger sibling, as the shots do come out quite fast, coming out as quickly as 3 frames from humanoid form and 11 frames out of your swimming form. Each shot deals 36 points of damage, needing only 3 shots to splat an opponent at full health, with a minimum of 18 points with fall-off damage. Its accuracy is much more focused than the other shooters like the Junior, and reaches farther as well, reaching past the 3rd line in the practice arena. With its spread accuracy range being much more focused than the Junior's, it's a much better weapon at hitting what's in front of it while also still painting well, and takes a good amount of time before it really starts straying from its target. Take about 13 shots for it to reach minimum accuracy. With this combination of strong damage and fast fire rate, the Splattershot is one of the fastest killers in the game, only needing 1/4 of a second to splat an opponent if all 3 shots hit continuously. And with it having better range and accuracy than the Junior by a long shot, this makes the Splattershot a great jack-of-all-trade weapon that can fight, paint, and assist in all sorts of ways to help its team, while also being a weapon to introduce you to shooters and even the game as a whole. It's so balanced and strong in its stats that it's a great fit with just about every weapon, as it can do all kinds of tasks to help your team out, as it's being pretty strong and decent at everything. It can use its strengths to take advantage of where other weapons lack to take them down, while also being adaptable to fit with whatever kind of playstyle fits you best. If you're a frontline slayer, you can use your fast movement and inking capabilities to get to the front lines and fight. If you're a stealthier player, you can sneak and shark in various places to take down enemies. If you're more of a support player, you can swim in quickly and assist your teammates in overwhelming opponents with your fast and powerful attacks. And with it being the all-rounder weapon, this makes you an adaptable fighter as well, as depending on what you face, you can use your gun's strengths to overpower your opponent's major weaknesses. Against weapons that have to get close to get kills like rollers, brushes, and the Luna Clash Blasters, the Splattershot can use its superior range to take them out before they get close enough for to land a killing blow. To get past slow firing but high damage weapons like E-Leader, Tri-Stringer, and Dynamo Roller, the Splattershot has a fast fire rate and movement speed that can take out the backliners before they get a chance to set up and fire. And for weapons that fire quickly but don't deal a lot of damage, like the Splattershot Junior, Splash-O-Matic, and Aerosprays, the Splattershot can use its superior damage output to outmuscle them and take them out with less hits than its opponents. With all these stats and with enough practice, this Shoto gun can become a constant thorn in opposing teams' sides, as not only can they exploit the weaknesses of their opponents, but can change up their style of play to match the opponent and situation they're in to give them more of an advantage in a fight, and can help maintain map control to build up its special quickly to keep helping its team. That said, there's a reason why many move on from the Shoto once they see other bigger and more advanced weapons on the scene become available to them. As while the Splattershot is a strong weapon whose greatest strength is being average and good at everything it does, it's also its greatest weakness, as while it can take advantage of the weapons of certain weapons it faces, it can also be beaten by their opponent's weapon strengths if they're not careful. While its range is a step up from Lil Jr., it overall isn't that long in the grand scheme of things, as many other weapons can easily outrange it, like the Sloshers, the 52 Gals, Splattershot Pro, and Dually Squelchers, and every backliner can easily pick it up before they even get close if there aren't any obstacles in their way. Its overall fire rate is good, but other weapons like the Splash-O-Matic and N-Zaps can land their shots and splat it faster if they are close enough and are able to beat them on the draw. 36 points of damage is pretty strong, but other weapons are able to deal much more damage or deal it faster than them in the right conditions. Like Blasters and Rollers only need one good shot for instant kill, and the 52 Gal only needs 2 shots to land compared to the Splattershot's 3. And while it can strafe well, Dualies and other weapons that can strafe well, like the Junior and Splatana Wiper, can use their fast strafing speed and dodge rolls to dodge shots much better than the Splattershot, making them much harder to hit in head-on fights. It's like a double-edged sword that the Splattershot player has to think about against every weapon to figure out what they have to avoid from their opponent, while also figuring out what they can exploit to take down an opponent, which takes a bit of time to figure out and use to be the best help on their team. But overall, with its all-around stats and kit, it's a weapon that works well with many weapon classes and seems to be a solid piece to help your team paint turf, push forward to an objective, or help maintain control of the map. As if it knows where it needs to be and what it has to do to congeal with its team, it can be a great asset all around, so be ready to be whatever your team needs to be. If you have a team with heavy hitters and backliners that don't really paint well, focus on the paint and make paths for them so they can lay down cover fire and keep the opposing team pinned. If your team is a lot of painters, focus on fighting to keep them away from your painters so they can keep painting safely while also getting specials to help you out. If there's a bit of a mix, then take charge of fights with your teammates supporting you to take down opponents, or be the silent shark that the other team can't find to keep an advantage. The weapon's strength is that it is the jack of all trades. It's meant to introduce you to how the game works as a whole, so play adaptively and learn where you fight best on a team and with your play style as a whole. And as most bigger siblings do, even its sub-weapon has to try and be better than the younger siblings. As returning for the 3rd time, its sub-weapon is the Suction Bomb. A can-shaped bomb with a large suction cup at the bottom has the ability to stick to nearly any surface, be it on the floor, the walls, or up on the ceiling. With this addition, though, it takes nearly twice as long to detonate it as a Splat Bomb, taking about 2 seconds to deal a powerful 180 points of damage on a direct hit and 30 points of splash damage. But its longer detonation time is made up for that it has a bigger explosion radius, making it very capable of taking out opponents with bomb defense up and catching people with a wider killing ball. The suction cup on the bomb also makes it very versatile in play, making the suction bomb a very powerful stealth weapon if it's hidden out of the opponent's view. And its versatility on where you can place it make it a very powerful weapon to get kills and help your team. And while it does have a longer detonation time, its power and range make it just as, if not more, diverse than a Splat Bomb in some cases. It can flush out opponents, is an instant scare to camping weapons like Chargers and Splatlings, can trap opponents for kills, and pressure opponents over a greater distance than what the gun can reach. It can also punish bad super jumps near you, however its detonation time is a little trickier to time than the Splat Bombs, so it takes a little more practice. But the best way to use this sub is to know its versatility and use it to hide this powerful bomb out of the opponent's sight, like on low ceilings, around corners, under grates, and in gaps and narrow passageways that enemies use when they approach the center of the map or the objective, as the large explosion it causes can cut off and catch a lot of people that try to run through it. So take the time to explore recon mode and try out just where you can throw this suction bomb, because you might be surprised at just how many things you can stick this thing to across the stages. Except for water. They don't work there. But along with it being a stealth tool, this bomb is the perfect tool for flushing out opponents and making backliners retreat. There may not be a sub-weapon they fear more than this one, as due to its power, explosion radius, and slow detonation time, this forces them to have to move to avoid death. And sometimes, some backliners get a little too cocky thinking that they can make a killing shot before the bomb goes off since they have a little extra time, but then end up being surprised to find themselves caught in its blast radius. However, this powerful bomb does come with a weakness of using 70% of your ink tank per use. So much so that you can still see the game registering how much it used before it starts to reload if you dunk it ink. So, it needs to be used carefully as it may either use up the remainder of your ink tank or leave you with barely anything to fight if you get in a critical situation. And unlike Junior, this goes through ink a lot faster, so you need to be careful in using it, otherwise you may find yourself without ink when you may be looking to get that killing blow. Its longer detonation time must also be kept in mind as it probably won't work in the same strategies as Splat Bombs due to them not being as immediate of a threat. But they still can manipulate opponents to move them into yours or your teammate's shot to take them out. And even if the bomb doesn't kill them, if it gets any splash damage, you then only need 2 shots from the gun to take them out. Remember that bombs are also allowed to detonate at the end of turf war matches too. And with its larger blast radius, use them in the final seconds to get some last second ink that could help you get a win in a close match. And with its large blast and powerful damage also going off instantly, it can do major damage to objects too, like Rainmaker Shield, Bubbler Shields, Splash Walls, and Umbrellas. So use them to make major blasts to take out unsuspecting enemies. Its special is one that no matter how many nerfs Nintendo gives it, the community still complains is still too OP. And I love it! Meet the powerful Trizooka! First of several 3-themed weapons in this game. Trust me, we'll see a lot of them. Remember the Inkstrike from the original Splatoon game? This thing's received a major upgrade to now shoot 3 big double globs of ink that rocket out and explode when they hit a surface, painting a medium area on impact with a wall or the ground for about 5.5 seconds. Now that doesn't sound too bad, right? Well, each of these shots deal a whopping 220 points of damage on a direct hit, with it ranging from 35 to 53 points of damage on a splash hit, showing this baby still packs a major punch even through all the nerfs. Even better is that the player is completely free to move while they have it out, able to swim and readjust their shots during those 5 seconds to get the shot they want. Now, all that is good and all, but what really makes it the powerhouse that everyone's scared of is this extremely fast startup, as it only takes 20 seconds for it to be out in play and about 15 frames for a shot to come out once the player fires, leaving very little time for opponents to react to it once it's deployed. And if the first shot is true, there's little they can do to prevent death. And those shots aren't limited to splatting 1 player per shot. It's not much of a surprise that this thing's been nerfed to death to try and balance it out, especially since this special gives virtually no warning it's happening. Normally a special has some sort of visual or audio cue that lets everyone know it's happening out on the field, like this. But Trizooka's is just this. Yeah, good luck dodging that in time with all the chaos. And this thing's even more dangerous with special power-up, as it lets you have more time available to make your shot before it's gone, and the painting radius of its explosions increased by up to 25%. Now, I can hear some of you saying, oh, well, all I have to do is duck out of cover and let the stage protect me in some places, and I'll survive and punish them. Yeah, for a typical special you could do that, but not this one, as its shots are extremely unique, as they'll start flying straight ahead, but can also curve down with gravity to curve right over blocks and other obstacles to land right on opponents, or just passing by someone can count as a death. Heck, sometimes it may not even look like it hit you at all, and it'll still count as you dying. The reason that everyone keeps screaming for this thing to keep getting nerfed is because no one is safe from its shots. It's so dangerous, most backliners' enemies book it out of it anywhere they are, just so they can make sure they're not in the way of this thing's shots. Its range and killing power is insane, making it one of the best killers and displacement weapons to backline and long-range midline players, able to take out key players in nearly an instant to help flip the tides of a battle in what feels like an instant. I'm not kidding when I say many people find some kits leagues more viable than the other in the family simply because this special is on it. It's that good. Now, before you all go, holy squid rings, this thing must be absolutely unbeatable. I'll tell you now that it does have a few weaknesses. While this thing does have incredible range and power and can kill people with one wild shot, its overall hit detection can be a bit spotty, as you could hit right where someone's standing right in front of you, but it won't count as a direct hit, and maybe not even as a splash hit, seemingly worse off at close range. And while you are actually firing the shot, you do freeze in place when you fire, so if the opponent is able to time a bomb throw right when you're shooting, your destructive run may end early. And probably the biggest risk of this special, and many more in this game, is you are not invincible while you hold this thing. A player able to get around you and flank while you're holding the Trizooka can shoot you down as if you're regularly playing. So using it as a panic button is not advised at all, especially since this thing costs an expensive 210 special points to get. So losing it once you get it can be a major punch to the gut. With all of its tools and despite its nerfs, this special is still an absolute monster that still has everyone trembling in its wake. And with the Splattershot, this gives strong answers to backline players to make them back off or remove them from the field for a good while. It makes even some of the most dug-in backliners run for the hills. And if it's not targeting them, it's looking to take out others with some powerful blast as they're trying to get to the objective. One that can help keep the pressure on a team or turn the tides to help get the objective back by taking down some major players holding the line, or puts a grinding halt to their attack. It's a special that helps make this Shoto weapon amongst the strongest in the meta, and even amongst other Slayer weapons. It's not a surprise to see many people, even in competitive play, have this thing in their pocket to mix and gel with their team to be ready for just about anything. For its best modes, I'd argue Splattershot shines the best in Splat zones, not only for being good at painting and maintaining the zone, but also for being one of the best fighters for it. It could shark in the zone to help paint it and keep it, or help push into an enemy's side to keep them from ever getting to the zone. And if sharking's not your style, it's still a great fighter that can go toe-to-toe with virtually anyone in the game. Suction bombs are also great manipulating tools that can even help in taking the zone due to how big of an explosion radius they have. And Trizooka? Probably one of the best specials to tell people to get out or stay away from the zone, especially the backliners that love to lord over them. Turbo is a solid choice for it too, with its great ink coverage and map control. It's great to help in just about every part it needs to be in for it. It can paint well, kill well, push in, hold the line, and can be just about everywhere you need it to be. Suction bombs paint well and can kill at certain passageways or tell backliners to back off, and Trizooka is great for laying on the pressure and taking out opponents, especially the backliners. Tower control is solid for it too, as it's great for fighting and defending the tower. The suction bombs being great get-off-it tools, and Trizooka just being awesome, especially for scaring people off the tower, or people shooting at it while you're on it to help get a nice path to keep scoring. Clam Blitz is a strong choice for it as well, as it's a great painter that can give your team space to move and collect clams, and suction bombs are great weapons to help take out foes and maintain the stage and basket area, with Trizooka being a great basket area taker and push starter when used with other specials. Rainmaker's alright for it too, as Suction Bomb and Trizooka do great damage to the shield, and it can help push up with the carrier easily, and the gun is great at surprising enemies focused on the Rainmaker, and Trizooka can clear out narrow pathways you need to go up. It can clear foes attacking on ledges trying to defend. For the best abilities to go with it, the best ones I would say to have are Swim Speed Up and Quick Respawn. As if you're going to be going around and at the front lines, you need to be as fast as possible. And having these can have you get there faster and make yourself harder to hit for sharking and substrafing techniques. And as a Slayer, you'll probably be dying a lot too, especially against some really good opponents in the higher levels. So this can get you back in the fight faster to help support your team. But definitely don't sleep on these other abilities here too, as they can help you depending on how you like to play with this all-rounder. For best stages, there's really not a bad stage for it, really. It mainly depends on the modes and your preferences. There are probably a few stages that, with some tight walls and obstacles, can really be your best friend with Splattershot, to hide yourself for sharking or to play tricky with suction bombs, while giving you some good spots to fight with Trizooka. It's the jack-of-all-trades weapon for a reason and can play as such. So overall, up to you how you want to play. But we're not quite done yet, as we technically still have 2 more kits to talk about. And these guys are what I personally play best. And unlocked at level 10 is the Tentatek Splattershot. Or if you're able to complete the final palette of Side Order, you can get the Octoshot Replica. While both of these are the same guns as the regular Splattershot, this gun uses a different sub and special that makes it a bit better in my opinion at one-on-one fights. It is much better at controlling the map. Its sub is the Splat Bomb, just like the Splattershot Jr. and just like what it had back in Splatoon 2. As we covered this sub a bit last time, we'll mainly go over how this helps you a bit more specifically with this gun. In this case, this sub and weapon are great at using the pre-firing technique. In other words, if you know an enemy is coming or hiding around a corner or in an area up ahead, fire the Splat Bomb out and try and flush them out and manipulate them with the shots either to trap them close to the bomb's explosion or they can run into your shots to splat it, which can be a great way to deal with sharking weapons or enemies lurking in areas full of their ink, especially if you throw it behind them. This is a strategy that works great with other bombs like suction bombs too, but due to this one having a shorter fuse, it's much more of an immediate threat that they have to take care of over the suction bomb, as they could easily see that and then just retreat relatively safely as they can swim away before it goes off. This combo is probably my favorite out of the entire game, as like I mentioned in the previous episode, the bomb is incredibly versatile, and with it paired with a versatile gun that's much more akin to fighting than the Splattershot Jr., it's a great pairing that can help you win fights and control space, being a great help to your team. Its special is a new one for the series, kind of, with an old dog learning new tricks, with the triple Inkstrike. Longtime veterans will remember the classic Inkstrike being an absolute menace in Turf War back in the day, but now it's gotten a good upgrade. It joined the group of the 3 theme specials. Needing only 190 points to get, this gives your cephalopod a backpack with 3 missiles launched into the air. It gives you 6 seconds to throw 3 beacons out onto the field where they'll land. Each marker will reveal to the player as well as the opponents where the strike will land and how big its radius will be. Then strike there just over a second later, dealing 37.5 points of damage every 5 frames for a grand total of 412.5 points of damage for the entire duration of just one of these missiles. To give you a reference of how strong that is, that's strong enough to take out a Booyah Bomb carrier with just one strike alone. The markers are also extremely versatile too, so they can stick to the walls or the ground upon impact, which can be used in several situations to surprise enemies, as you could hide them at the base of walls and other objects to hide the markers of a strike coming in, and surprise enemies and backliners using the high ground. Yeah, that's right, Obi-Wan, the high ground ain't working for you here. Along with that, the giant tornadoes of ink that they make can be used to block the vision to distract opposing backline weapons and specials like Crab Tank, as they'll be unable to see through them, which can allow some teammates being targeted by them to have a little breathing room if needed. And as long as the markers land, the strike will happen. So if you're able to throw all 3 out before the last seconds of a turf war, that's a lot of free points and ink you can get in the last seconds that the other team can't do anything about, which can push you over at some close wins. Hey, like I said, the old dog learned some new tricks. However, the old dog still has some old bad habits, and picked up a few new ones along the way. For one, while the markers sticking to the walls are great, be sure you have a clear view when you're throwing them, as like suction bombs, if they clip a wall or something in front of them, even by the tiniest bit, it'll stick and strike there instead of where you actually wanted to throw it, basically wasting a strike. Trust me, it happens a lot. Another issue is that, kind of like in the original, while you can move faster than this slow walk they did in the first game, you can still run and jump in your human form while you're throwing the markers to adjust your aim. However, you cannot become a squid or octo to move faster to escape enemies that get too close to you while you throw the last strike. And there's no armor on you at all, so if you get splatted before you even throw one, the special is wasted. So be sure to launch them from a safe distance from any enemy so your special isn't killed off too soon. But this special gives a Tentatek a stronger role in the painting and stage control aspect in a game, as it can displace backliners pestering the team, or use it to paint a lot of areas in quick strike, which could shake up an opposing team a little if used with other specials to spread them out. Especially if your teammates have a sub like point sensor to literally tell you where the enemy is, you can even play a little manipulatively by placing one strike, then firing another strike in the direction they're going. I guarantee you'll take out quite a few people with it. And even then, when it's paired well with the gun and Splat Bomb, it can flush out enemies into a waiting attack from you with the gun or bomb, since it completely refills your ink tank too. It's great for capturing ground and turf for an objective such as the Splat Zone, or breaking through a checkpoint in tower control. and even be a way for your team to end the game if you've got it in the lead, giving it the name of GG Strikes. For its best modes, personally, I love this gun in Splat Zones, as not only is the gun in Splat Bomb great for painting the zone and sharking in it to defend it, but Tri-Strikes are great weapons to help your team gain control of the zone or keep enemy anchors back from attacking your team. Heck, one good strike from triple Inkstrike is enough to either contest or fully take a zone by itself. So having it is definitely a good weapon to have if you look to be a major part in your team. Turf War is strong too again with the gun and sub, but the special is a great turf getter and can take out unsuspecting enemies to keep the enemy team down members and can get you some game-winning points in the final seconds. Tower Control is also a great mode for it too, as the gun is great for fighting on it against enemies approaching the tower, and Splat Bombs and Tri-Strikes are great tools to scare the enemy off the tower, especially Strikes, and they can even help you push through enemy checkpoints against the waiting anchors there. Clan Blitz is decent too, for the gun being good and Splat Bombs being great tools for you to win fights against the enemy. And it paints well, which is good for you to get as much turf as possible. And Tri-Strikes can start a push and move anchors away from guarding the basket. Rainmaker is okay for it too, as it can still run around and fight, and the strikes can be useful for breaking through checkpoints on some stages. For best abilities to go with it, I want to give a little bit of focus to Comeback, as this is kind of the same mindset at Quick Respawn, and instead can give you a bit of a leg up the next time you try and help your team, as you'll get increased ink recovery, ink saver to your main and sub weapons, movement speed, and special charge when you come back. So this could be a quick burst of speed and power you need potentially rejoin the fight and help take down enemies. Another is Last Ditch Effort, mainly for Splat Zones, as this doesn't activate until the final seconds of a match or if the opposing team's score is less than 50 points. And depending on the score, this can grant you up to 1 to 18 ability points to Ink Saver main and sub and ink recovery, which can also be very helpful to keep you as a threat and try to help you turn the tides in a tight Splat Zones game. For its best stages, once again, it's not really bad anywhere, and it's a reskin of a jack-of-all-trades weapon, so these stages are great for getting triple Inkstrike kills, as there's many areas and walls and perches to hide the strike markers, and areas you can help challenge opponents with bombs in the gun, which can make it easier for your team to get turf, keep up the pressure, and break through checkpoints. Just be aware of where you're needed and what you need to do to give your team the edge. Whew, alright, that should about do it for this episode. Just a little more to go, and then we're good. Oh, there's Splatoon news. I thought we were already getting Splatoon 4. Oh, okay. Splatoon Raiders. Okay, cool, yeah, a little spin-off thing with Deep Cut? Yeah, that's nice. What's all the rest of this, though? Wait. No. No. Nintendo, you said you were done. I waited for there to be no new weapons to start this series. You said it was all just patches and balances from here on out. No! Okay, please tell me one's not a junior. Or another Splattershot. Here we go. Well, after being radio silent for about a year, suddenly Nintendo's got a whole bunch of new stuff for us to play around with now. So, guess we might as well keep it running with this new flashy weapon. Unlocked at level 12, it's the Glamorz Splattershot. Same stats as the gun in the previous 5 versions we just talked about, but this one's got new tools to live up to the Shoto classification of the versatile jack-of-all-trades. A big part of that is thanks to its sub-weapon, returning for the 3rd time, the Burst Bomb. A balloon-shaped bomb that, unlike other bombs, isn't an instant kill if it hits an opponent, but instead explodes on contact with anything it touches, be it the floor, a wall, or an enemy. Painting the surface in a small puddle of ink, with it being quite cheap to use, using only 45% of your ink tank per use, easily allowing you to throw up to 2 burst bombs with a near full tank with ease, and still gives you some shots left over on a full tank. but this cheap cost comes at the price of only dealing 60 points of damage on a direct hit, while splash damage ranging anywhere from 25 to 35 points of damage, with it needing 2 direct hits to splat an opponent at full health. But just because it isn't an instant kill threat like other bombs doesn't mean it can't be helpful in a fight, as this thing is actually one of the most versatile subs in the game. It's fast damage to an enemy that can quickly apply pressure and damage opponents near and far, making them have to retreat or can take them out if they're damaged enough. And with the puddles they make on contact with everything, they can also be used to trap opponents in ink to immobilize them or slow them down to be taken out with the gun. And its strong 60 points of damage can also destroy certain objects like sprinklers, squid beacons, and super chumps instantly. It's also a great tool to help teammates in fights by either weakening enemies you could hit with it to make them easier to take out, or can paint the ground to help them escape if they need to. But one of the things it's best at is being a secondary painting option that can paint some small but important areas quickly. Like if you or others need to get up a wall quickly, one bomb can practically paint the entire thing for you in an instant, rather than you having to aim in your shots to make a path. So quickly, you'll barely break your stride in doing so. Trust me, backliners love teammates that do this. It also works to fill in and paint over blank spots or splotches of enemy ink in certain areas, so you can get some free points and help the team move. And throwing them out at the end of a turf war can be points you need to push your team over the edge, especially since you can throw 2 of them with a full tank. This is a great assister to the Splattershot and other weapons in general, as this can work to block off enemy escape routes and put fights in your favor from the get-go before you get the jump on them. But also that if you score a direct hit, or even a strong part of the splash hit, that cuts the killing shots you need from 3 hits to 2, which makes this gun's already speeding splatting time even faster. Well, actually that's not entirely true. Shooting the 3 shots is faster for the Splattershot, but the bomb basically works as insurance, making sure that the enemy doesn't slip away before the last shot lands and can counterattack, and instead puts them in a rough spot that they have to try and get out of while you're firing at them. Even if you don't hit them with the 35 points direct or 60 point direct, trapping them in your ink can be all you need to set up the gun to do the rest. Or if just shooting them is more efficient, that works too. The bomb's all about versatility to get paint on the ground and against some enemies, and that's the best thing to have. If you get into a situation where maybe the shots just miss somehow, or your opponent starts fleeing into their ink and you have to chase them through it, don't play on their terms, keep yours. Throw a burst bomb ahead of or on them to cut off their path and close in on them with a gun to take them down. And since bombs throwing have more range than shooting, it's a much safer method to do so, especially if you have a slot or 2 filled with bomb range up, so you can use it with the gun to trap opponents and close in on them quickly with the gun to take them out and keep the attack up for your team. And this combo works especially well for those who have the shark, being a sudden surprise attack to players and giving them no way out to escape a deadly blast. The only real weaknesses this bomb has is that it is quite weak and is one of the few that won't take out an opponent at full health. And while pressure is something some weapons will struggle against, it not being an instant threat on its own, and if players stay outside of the range of the gun, they can easily truck through it and keep fighting to mow you down before the gun can finish the job. And it's even easier if you just straight up mess with the bomb. Also, while it doesn't use 70% of your tank per use like other bombs, spamming them with no thought for your ink levels can leave you with no ink when you really need it, either to win a fight or paint yourself a path out of trouble. So keep an eye on your levels when you're firing these things around. But even then, it still has some uses against those long-range backliners, as it can paint the ground around them, cause them to retreat by taking over half their life away in one quick hit, or just check if someone's hiding on ledges and perches, as they'll pop out of the ground if the ground's painted in your color. It's a bomb that works like the gun. It can kill fast, it can paint fast, and it can help hold the line to assist you in whatever you need it to do. It's been one of the most versatile bombs in the series, and it's not changing here. It's special as an old sea folk legend, back now with a royal decree. It's the Kraken Royale! All the Splatoon 1 veterans remember this old gun as the invincible beast that could help flip the tides with just its presence, and the old king is back for a new age of splatting. This turns the player into a massive version of their squid or octo form that is able to swim through enemy ink and unpainted turf unobstructed, while painting the ground behind them for 7 seconds. but instead of having their weapon, you attack with a jumping spin attack that deals 60 points of damage per hit. Or you can hold down the attack button to charge up a fast charging attack, like the Squid Surge, for an instant kill hit at 120 points of damage, with the player's eyes flashing with a small chime sound playing to let you know when it's ready to launch. But once a player releases and charges in a direction, they're locked in that direction until the attack is finished. You can aim the attack while you're charging to get the direction you want, but you move very slowly while you do. Also, if you do go on uninkable turf, you'll swim very slowly there too, like if you were in your normal swimming form, so it doesn't fix everything about that. However, unlike other specials we've talked about so far, and really any of them besides this one, you are invincible to all damage while in this form. So you can swim straight into fire and just laugh it off as you just shake off the damage and keep going for more. Well, sort of. While you don't take damage, you still are susceptible to knockback, mainly from rapid-fire weapons like splatlings and shooters, and explosions from sub-weapons. Though this depends on what you're doing. While you're charging a dash or just swimming around, you'll suffer knockback to get pushed away. But once your attack is fully charged, the knockback is greatly reduced. And once you start charging at opponents, then you blast through everything. Except for when you're on the tower. Yeah, an invincible person sitting on the tower was a bit too OP, and Nintendo saw that. So kinda like how Bubbler's weaker on it, except not having less health or time, but being lighter and easier to actually be knocked off of it, which can screw up some plans to use it to try and hang on to it in overtime while the team is down and on checkpoints. But it is good to get enemies off the tower if you have the lead to get the win. With the effects of special power-up, this makes the nightmare for your enemies that you're targeting last even longer, as this increases the transformation time from 7 seconds up to 10, which can buy up more time that the enemy team is away from objectives trying to avoid you. As while the special makes you invincible, it's best used to actually use as surprise attacks, with quick burst attacks out of the sight of opponents to get them with a quick instant kill attack to take out key members of the enemy team. You don't want to transform and run right at the enemy, as that usually doesn't work out, because the sound of the transformation lets enemies know it's out, and the charge attack is very telegraphed and relatively easy to dodge. And if they have an escape route or a pond of ink behind them, chasing them into enemy territory is a fool's errand. They'll mainly move one person, odds are you won't catch them, and you'll basically waste your special. So, it's best used as a weapon to move enemies and take out important ones with a powerful attack to set your team up to push the enemy away. Don't use it as a panic button to bail yourself out. Use it actually when the team's heavily engaged with the enemy, as this can work to give your teammates the upper hand. If a teammate's locked in a fight with an opponent, swoop in from the enemy's flank to take them out, or move them in a way that your teammate can take them down, or cause them to retreat to avoid you entirely. This can cause your team to get certain points or get an objective on several objective points like Splat Zones or Rainmaker, as it can be a signal to everyone for a push to begin and have your teammates move with you, and the enemy is mostly worrying about avoiding the invincible attacking enemy chasing them down. And it can even be used to hold the line by cutting off or punishing other enemy specials, mainly those that don't really move well, like Tentamissiles, triple Inkstrikes, and Booyah Bombs, as it can get around to weak points in them to take them out in one hit, or whittle away at their health and time to destroy their defenses. And can even punish specials with timers too, like Zipcaster and Inkjet, as it can lie in wait by their return points and then charge forward with the insta-kill charge when they touch down. But it can do much more than just charge through enemy forces. You know how Rainmaker is seen as the protect the carrier mode and all, with the team basically trying to shield the one guy carrying the objective? Well, Kraken can literally do that. If the Rainmaker carrier is able to swim perfectly with a Kraken, it can protect the carrier from all sorts of bombs, shots, and certain specials, as it literally just shrugs them off and blocks them, which, if done right, can get you through tough checkpoints or get a lead in critical moments. And this strategy can work in Clam Blitz too for teammates that have a power clam, because the Kraken can actually do that itself. Yeah, while it can swim around to the basket, it cannot throw or even pick up clams on the ground, and will actually drop all the clams the player has collected upon transformation, including footballs. And for all you that remember Splatoon 2's jump the baller strategy, that doesn't work anymore, thanks to patch 3.1.0. Teammates can still super jump to you, but not directly. They'll instead jump over to where you started the transformation instead of where you currently are, like with the Zipcaster or Inkjet. This could still work for a push, but it's not as effective as it used to be. But Kraken doesn't have to be an attack. Sometimes the best thing you can do for a team is survive and keep numbers up on your side. So if you find yourself in a bit of a pickle and see your teammate numbers are down, use it as an escape tool to get back to your teammate safely since you're invincible. Then circle back with them to re-engage in the fight. But that doesn't really mean it's a good panic button. Yeah, despite it being invincible, Kraken Royale does have some noticeable weaknesses you need to be wary of. The biggest thing a Kraken player must be wary of is when they start the special and when it ends. While you are invincible when you are the Kraken, transforming into the Kraken is a different story. As while you're transforming into this royal form, you are vulnerable to damage for a second and a half, with no way to fight while it happens. So if you take enough damage while transforming, you'll die and your special will be wasted. And trust me, canceling a Kraken is a major morale boost for a team. And while it only needs 190 points to get, which isn't awful, it's still a bit of a hump to get over if you lose it. But if you are able to get it off, you also must be wary when the transformation's over, as near its end, you'll start flashing red, notifying everyone that can see it that the special's ending. And while you transform back, you're vulnerable to damage and cannot fire your gun or sub. And if some opponents see this, they may stop running away and turn the chase around on you. So you have to keep in mind when the special ends to know when it's time to end the chase and find a safe place to avoid being punished for the attack. And while Royale is strong and invincible on paper, it is rather clumsy at times. It moves slowly traveling up walls and is pretty clumsy when performing a surge attack over ledges and up walls, which can waste time or have you struggling, which can eat up your time in the form. Also, while most subs literally explode or are defused on contact with it, splash walls can stall Krakens for a short while as they need at least 2 hits to break through them, or you have to just swim around them to keep going. And remember, you only have 7 seconds. Also remember that it is still a squid or octo form, so if you go up on grates, you'll fall straight through it like normal. So keep that in mind in certain stages like Manta Maria and Mincemeat Metalworks. But if used at the right time and the right way, this is a great weapon to use to help turn battles in your favor. And either using it to help support teammates by winning a fight for them outright with a good surprise attack, or it can get the enemy to retreat from certain objectives like the Splat Zone. Or it can be used to take out that one backliner or one guy using their special to pin down the team. And Glamorz can work to cover you a bit at the end of the special too, as once you do get access to your gun and sub again, a good burst bomb can paint the ground for you to get away, or can tag an enemy with 60 points of damage trying to chase you down. It can buy you and your team those precious seconds to regroup and switch the pressure onto the opposing team by making them have to avoid you and give your teammates a chance to take major points. And due to the gun being a good painter, you'll likely be getting it a fair amount of times if you play it right and are able to survive to get it off, which can be great help to getting the enemy team on the back foot and keeping them there. For a weapon all about versatility, be ready to pop it and use it to shake up the strategies the opposing side has to get the points and turf you need. For its best modes, Glamorz is probably best at Splat Zones, as the gun and burst bomb combination is great for painting the zone and taking out foes. And even if it's not painting the zone, it can make escape routes for teammates, regain and maintain turf, and where you can still shark and get some fast kills with it. And Kraken can help lead us to push into the zone by helping your team and disrupt enemies firing at it. Turf War is a good choice too, as the gun and burst bomb are great for painting and getting kills offensively and defensively, and filling in spots to get you points, and Kraken can help with take down those backliners or specials that are hitting your team hard. Rainmaker is a solid choice as well, as the gun and burst bombs are good for painting your way to the checkpoints and fighting enemies, and Kraken can work as a shield to protect the Rainmaker carrier or go after people shooting at it. And I'll say Clam Blitz is a solid choice for it as well, as once again, the gun and sub are good for painting and can lead teams to the enemy basket if done with a bit of planning and strategy. And while you can't score yourself with Kraken, you can have teammates jump to your starting point and score while you chase down enemies and disrupt their defenses. For best abilities to go with it, I'd say some good ones to have would be sub power up to get your burst bombs to fly farther and faster. And special power up would be a good one too to get more time out of Kraken to help your team and disrupt the enemy more often. But all these abilities are great to have on it too to help you fight and paint for your team. For its best stages, it does its best when it has some good places it can get those close kills and shark with the burst bomb, but also not have many areas for enemies to run from the Kraken when you activate it. But also still remember to go to a safe place from when it's over. But it also does well on stages that have areas where you can run around and flank the enemy from the side or behind to help flush out foes to help your team move up forward and get the win. But it's hard to really say it's bad anywhere, so test it out to find where it can help you get wins. And that does it for this episode of the Splat Bros Weapon Guide. Hope you all learned something new about these weapons, that there may be a bit more to these Shoto weapons than you first thought. Or maybe you can see why it's still so popular even though there are many more weapons in the game. Sorry this one took a while to make up. The update kind of came out of nowhere for everyone, and I had to do a little bit of extra recording for it. But I'm glad it's finally finished for you all. If you enjoyed what you saw, please feel free to like and subscribe to stay tuned to upcoming episodes of this series in the future and other things we do here on the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. If there's anything we missed or may have gotten wrong, feel free to let us know down in the comments below, as Nintendo can suddenly drop another patch on us and change things around again. It happened for this one. Thanks for watching again, everyone, and hope to see you next time for the next episode.